welcome to my podcast. I know I'm laughing. I cannot help myself. Plus, I get somebody that I dearly love, and I'm so happy to finally be talk again. I missed you, Ross. This is Mr. Ross Swan. He is an absolute elite of the elite in my book when it comes down to leadership, and worked with different companies over Asia, US, everywhere around the world actually, and has done such miracle, has such knowledge. That's why I love to talk to Ross, because he's one of the best coach you will ever hire. So you need to hire, by the way, Mr. Ross Swan, because his knowledge is unbelievable. His modules are fantastic. He started to create also modules, and not only for leadership, because it's maybe deceiving for people said, well, it's a leadership training module. I don't think so. And yeah, it is, because remember, we are all leaders in our own lives. And what Ross is teaching applies to our personal life as well. So it goes to work, professional side, but also personal. And so we're going to talk more with Ross in a minute, but I would just like to say I'm so happy we are back. I'm so happy, Ross. I'm talking to you today. I know. And as I said, it's been a while since I've not spoken to Ross, so I'm very, very happy. So welcome, Ross. How are you?
Thank you, Emma. I'm good. Thank you, Emma. It has been a while since I've missed that unique laughter.
Yes, that's true.
That's it. You can be hiding in the dark, but if you laugh, I don't know who it is.
I know. I know.
Happy to be here again, Emma. You know, that's my favorite subject, leadership. Yes.
Oh my God, you are posting some unbelievable, so to the point about leadership. It is unbelievable. Every post you have, and I'm reading, are so on the point. And that's what we need, because leadership is not something that comes outside the box and you think, oh, okay, I'm a good leader. No, it's like everything. You have to master it. And I wrote a blog about it a couple of weeks ago, and then it's been posted. And that was what, leadership mishap or something like that. I don't remember. Then I posted last week or something like that about companies. It should be mandatory for any companies, and I don't care who you are, to have a coach, a leadership coach, where people who are being hired in a leadership position or promoted into a leadership position, or somebody who's already in leadership position, should have. Because it is, the old days, you could scare the crap out of all of the employees, scream, yell, do whatever you want. You had free range. It's not happening anymore. And in order to, we're talking about employees retention. Well, I always said the cancer starts from the top, doesn't stop at the bottom, it starts from the top. So I leave you the floor right now. That's all of this.
Oh dear, left me the floor. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's interesting you said that employees don't take so much kindly to being told what to do here. In essence, they need to be shown where they're going, but not necessarily in exact detail how to get there. And it's interesting. It comes from basically the industrialized world, because many years ago, primarily employees were uneducated. When you go back 50, 100 years ago, the educated people were the managers who owned the businesses, probably, and it was more of a production line, because it come from an industrialized world. So therefore, telling employees what to do, that's what you had to do, because they didn't really know, and they weren't that educated, so they weren't being paid to think. They've been paid to work that production line, as I said, and to do that sort of manual type work. But over time, as it changed, it meant that there's less emphasis on manual work and that sort of, it's more on creative work. So when you look at the majority of employees now, when you look to manufacturing, for example, they have artificial intelligence do a lot of that stuff that humans did once.
Yes.
Now we have humans who are paid to think, create, collaborate, all those things, and yet a lot of leadership is still trying to lead them in the old way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot. It's changing, but albeit very slowly. So the key is now is you've got to get people to want to be doing this, because you don't create by the fact, oh, I've got to create today, so I'll sit down and create. It doesn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. Oh, I've got to sit there and pack widgets. That's fine, but I've got to sit and be creative. To be creative and to want to collaborate in a team, it's all energy.
Mm-hmm.
And its energy is positive energy. You don't create with negative energy. Like, so you're there trying to create people to create that positive energy. So they want to create, they want to collaborate, they want to do those sorts of things. Otherwise, you're just paying the money for doing as a lot less than what you'd like them to be doing. And so that's in essence how it's changing.
Yeah.
So and leadership hasn't caught up with it, but
No.
they're catching up. So look, some people have. Don't get me wrong, but when you look at the engagement figures, a lot haven't yet, and catching up spasmodically. I suppose they might have it for a day, but they lose it. So it's really, and I say that because the intent's sometimes there, but it just doesn't. It's not there really in the delivery.
Absolutely, and I agree. But that's the way they talk, the way, as I said on that blog, is the way people communicate. It's like, I am not part of your family, I'm not your cousin, so don't talk to me this way. Don't be disrespectful. Don't yell at me or use words that destroy more than it build up people. Don't say people are like being called incompetent. It's like, what? Hold on, let me think for a minute. You call me an incompetent, but I do know my work. I know my job. You don't understand what I do, but don't call me incompetent. To me, it's very, very rude. The approach, how do you approach people? First of all, leadership should be, and I've seen it too many times as well. So you kind of bring me back in the past of corporate world where people are like, oh, we're buddies. No, we're not. You're a leader, so you can be friendly, but I'm not your buddy, because if one day something doesn't go right, how do you sit down that person and explain, okay, this is not working. We need to course correct what you're doing. And that's the issue as well. So in one extreme of the spectrum, you got the I'm your buddy, kind of. And it's like, no, you're not supposed to. And on the other side, you deal with somebody who's like, you never know how to deal with that person because you're walking on eggs, because that person is ready to explode. Never talk in a way that should be constructive. Instead, is destructive, and really treating people lower than dirt. So for me, you're still experiencing this, and it should be a wake-up call for companies. Some have not caught up on that. Now with social media, more people, I believe, are leaking stuff and making known that it could destroy a company if employees are starting to explain what's going on within the company. But still, people need that coaching.
Well, leaders, I guess, need. Look, I think all leaders need coaching at some point. Mm-hmm. And that some need, believe you me, some need a lot of coaching, some which is sometimes remedial, which I've had to do over the years, and others just need a sounding board. It just depends on who they are. It's no different to a football coach or any other coach. Like, you don't play an NFL team and there's no coach. There's always, even though they're the best players. So even the best leaders, and usually the really good leaders have coaches. Why? Because they know they can always get better. They can always look at ways of improving, and it could be 0.000% of an improvement for them.
Yes.
Other people, it could be a massive percentage swing, but they're the ones who don't look. See, that's some of the problem. They don't look for that because they believe in their own world that they are okay and they're fine, that they've got the recipe for good leadership. So they don't tend to look. They tend to be good. Some do, don't get me wrong, but the really ones that are challenging are the ones that are more likely not to be asking for coaches because they believe they're okay.
And not
They don't have
only,
to learn anything.
I agree with you, but not only this, I believe that the people who don't ask for coaches, some of them, because everybody above them give them free range and nobody said you're wrong, then they act the way they want to act as well. So if you don't have somebody to stop them on their behavior, then they will continue to do that. It doesn't matter which company they're going to work at, they will
Yeah.
continue. And that's
Yeah,
the
well,
issue.
and that's true. Every leader gets the team that they deserve. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, if you take over a team that's a very good team, for example, but your
Mm-hmm.
leadership's poor,
Mm-hmm.
eventually, over time, and it won't be very long, those people will go. And particularly
Yep.
now, people are
Yep.
going, they're not putting up with it, so they go. So what you get in the end are the people that can't get jobs as many other places, but you've got them now because that's all you could get. Because the good people know your reputation around an organisation tends to be there, so they go. And if they join and find out pretty quickly, they go pretty quickly because they can get another job. And so you get the
Mm-hmm.
team you deserve. You end up eventually with all the people that you deserve. So if you're treating people like crap, as you're saying, then you're getting people who are okay to be
Mm-hmm.
treated like crap. They just want to do their job just enough to get paid because they just suffer the pain because that's
Mm-hmm.
what they're okay with. The good people aren't because they want positiveness. They want to be positive. They want to create. They want to energize, and they can't do it in a what's the word, unproductive or sort of environment, of environment
It's a toxic
that's negative.
environment.
Yeah,
Yes, it's
negative,
toxic.
toxic environment. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, and
So
that's why.
we don't go to a funeral and create things. We go to funeral because we're all sad. So
Yes.
people don't create and be happy and enjoy and put energy into when you're sad. And if you're sad,
Mm-hmm.
you're upset. If you're sad or if you're in a toxic environment, most people are negative. It's not a great
Yes.
environment.
No.
So we just don't create in that environment. We create in happy environments, fun environments, because we want to. And whenever we're feeling good, we're usually feeling happy. Whenever we're doing something for ourselves, it's because we're happy at that time.
And I think boundaries should be taught and learned as well, because a lot of people in leadership position, as I said, we're going from the negative now to the, oh, I'm your buddy. That is a problem for me too, because when it's time to really put your boots on and become the leader, nobody's taking you for, nobody will take you at face value. It's looking at you, it's like, we don't take you seriously. You're
Well, it
talking to
depends on
me,
what.
or it's gonna be like, we're besties now. We're not talking because you talk to me and you course correct me for what I was doing wrong, and I don't appreciate. So I'm not gonna talk to you for a week. So and then you're gonna apologize and you're gonna do this, and this is not leadership either.
No, it's not. Well, there again. So when you mentioned being buddies, they're not really buddies. They're only doing that to sort of get close to someone to react so people would like you. Therefore, they'll do things for you. Look, the really good leaders, being a buddy or being not a buddy is not. They don't even think about it. They just lead people. There's
Exactly.
no, oh well, I want to be friends or I want to be an enemy. And some of them they'll be very good friends with, but they just lead people.
Exactly.
It's not a conscious thought. They just do. Good leaders do, and they stick. And they listen to their inner being, because their inner being connects with other people's inner being. And when people are being connected that way, that's when they're more positive, feel more gratitude for others around them, feel appreciated, all those things, because it's the heart connecting with the heart. And that's at the end of the day, and therefore all these other things, they don't even consider it. They don't go, oh well, today I'm going to really try hard to be a good leader. They just do. They connect with people and do. They connect them in the right way. They give them constructive feedback, because they believe anything constructive is also positive for them, because they accept constructive feedback, because they know that they learn from it. So they don't look at that as, oh, I've got to chastise this person today. No, I've got to help this person be better at what they do. It's a different mindset.
Yeah, because it's not emotional. for me, it's not emotional. It's you're looking at the facts. You're looking at what doesn't work. And a lot of people, unfortunately, put the emotion in there. Like I always say to people, when you work somewhere, it's not your home. Remember, it's not your family. Those are coworkers. They can be friends, but that's not your family. So don't expose your dirty laundry in public, and don't make friends and thinking that you're gonna, well, this is what happened. And most of them, it's like, oh, we're best buddies and you're gonna protect me, whatever I'm doing, you're gonna fix it, and I can continue to screw up, but nobody's gonna say anything because you're there to, you're the leader, you're above me. And I say it too many times. But I feel like you said, a true leader is not somebody who thinks, it's just somebody who's going to be leading. It's not just thinking what is his position amongst the people, because he knows who he is or who she is, actually.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to become Attila the Hun or anything like that.
It's not a decision where, oh, today I'm going to be a good leader. Well, when I say that, I've coached a few people who were leadership challenged at the point, but their intent was good and they wanted to be a good leader. They just hadn't been exposed as to how.
Yep.
So, they'll work with, and I often say to people when I coach them, okay, so how do you want to be described as a leader? If I went and asked any one of your employees, what do you want them to be saying? And it's funny, they sit and think about it. No, some of them remain very quiet for a while. Others will say, well, I want them to be saying I'm effective, I'm this and that, but they're all task-focused words. And I said, no, what do you want them to be saying? Remember, they'll only ever remember you how you made them feel. Then they start to think about it more, and they realise that's the case. So it's funny. And when they write out something, I don't want War and Peace, a novel. I just want a paragraph of bullet points or whatever you want to say. What do you want people to be describing you as? And it's funny, it's always nice. I've never known anyone yet to write down, I want to be known as the biggest
pain.
The most pain in the backside. That's a better word. That's they've ever worked for. No one ever wants to say that. They might think it originally, then when they start thinking about it and they start thinking, feeling, they don't know, and they always write something that's reasonably positive. No, so that's okay. That's what you want people to describe you as. Yes, I do. Okay, now let's look at the behaviours, what you've got to do every day in order for someone to describe you that way. It doesn't happen by chance. I don't have a magic wand and go ping, and everyone goes,
don't?
That's it.
Ross,
I know.
I dare you. How dare you?
I know, but I do. I just do a little fairy outfit and put one leg up and go ping with a wand. I've done that occasionally, but you'd probably get arrested if I do it too many times. But look, it's once they look at them, we've got to look at the behaviour. So you've got to do the hard yard, and that's where the leaders falter. Some don't have the discipline. They'd like to be known that way, but they just don't have the discipline to just do it. And so that's the difference. But the ones who do it, they look at that, check. They have 5 or 6 behaviours. Usually 2 or 3 are the critical ones. The rest follow after they get those right. And they look at it. And I've had people who look at it continuously, look at it 2 or 3 times a day, and say, have I done that today? Have I done that? Oh, damn, I haven't done that. Crap, I haven't done that. And they'll look at it and they'll keep working on it. And then the really determined ones will actually read that out to their staff. This is what I'm going to do. So correct me if I don't. Or if you're not going to, tell Ross that these people I'm coaching, and I need the feedback, right? So that's, but I've seen people turn their careers around because they just do those behaviours. They so want to be a good leader. They just haven't been taught how to be, because they've worked in toxic environments and that's their only frame of reference. So it's people can do it if they want to. They're not born with it. They just have the discipline to want to do it. That's
okay. So let me ask you the question on this one. When you dealt with individuals, the most extreme case or the, not the easiest one to deal with, did they ever mention to you, when I ask people for feedback, they never talk? Or if I'm in a meeting, nobody talks?
Well, that's right, but they're not game to, because they'll get their head bitten off. They'll shoot the messenger's shot, and that's some of the problems, right? They
But did
know
you
because they know
then?
because they read it in the book. You've got to ask for feedback, so they ask, but no one gives it. Would want to give it, depending on the culture. In Asia, where I do a lot of work because I live here, it's less likely to give you feedback because it's not sort of something they do. You're more likely to get feedback, but you still don't get a lot. Don't get me wrong. In Australia or the US, they're more likely to tell you what they think of you, but still, when you look at the majority of people, they don't. They don't want to rock the boat. They just put their head down, or they just leave. They just go. The good ones just
But
go.
they never complain and say, well, when I'm in meeting with the staff, nobody ever talks. I'm always the only one talking. They never say anything before you do anything. When you start your conversation with them, they never give you that hint. That
but some of those people don't realise the hint.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's some of the trouble. They don't have antennas up. But that's why I like some of the companies I've worked with. Particularly US companies tend to do it more so, is have the when someone goes into a leadership position of more than a few, then it's an automatic. They'll get a 360, and then they'll continue to have those 360s on a regular, every year or two, and they'll have it even more so if there's feedback where they've got challenges or struggles. But there again, it's giving those people feedback, and I've seen some. I've seen some shockers where they've actually got some feedback that's horrendously bad in the ratings. They always ask rate if you're the worst manager of a workforce, 1, 5, you're the best type of thing. And I've had people who've been rated within 1.4 or 1.8.
Some I would have given them 0, but I wasn't allowed to give 0.
Yeah, but they probably would. But the point of making, you can still change. I've had someone who's below 2 in a ranking by I don't know, probably 70 to 80, maybe 100 employees.
Yeah.
And they turned their life around because they wanted to be a good leader. They've always worked in a toxic environment.
Yeah.
And home life was toxic as well.
Yeah.
So they never knew much different. But their intent was good, so they worked hard at it. Man, they had to work hard, but they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So it can happen if you want to. It can happen if you want to.
Exactly, but that's why I'm questioning, because sometimes some of those individuals ask, I don't understand. Nobody's talking. Nobody is doing this and that, and you're like, but don't it go in your brain and go ding 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 something? If nobody's talking, or if I'm asking feedback and I don't get feedback, something is wrong.
Well, again, it's like anything. Your imagination, when you don't hear any news, your imagination can be horribly negative, or be positive in a way. But you're just telling yourself that I'm okay.
No.
You're telling yourself,
no.
I haven't heard. No, I've heard from no one, so I must be okay.
No.
And when people don't talk up in a meeting, it's because whenever they do, no one listens. See, that's it. I've seen many leaders go, people don't give me much in the brainstorming, because you never shut up. And when someone says something, you just say, thank you, Emma, thanks for that. Yeah. And then you keep going on with what you think. Like you create the environment by which people work, right? They create their own environment. That's the leadership. They just create it. And they wonder what's going wrong. But
yes, exactly.
But they think it's okay. And they're the ones who don't get coached because they don't want that.
I don't think some, this one, I'm like, no, because I do know some who ask, but they know something is wrong, but they cannot put their fingers on it. They're like, nobody's talking, there's something wrong, but I don't know what it is. And it's like, well, okay, if you don't know, then maybe you record yourself and maybe you will understand.
Well, you're right, some do that. There's always different amounts of fluidity. Everyone's fluid in their leadership. There's all different levels, different parts of the scale. But there again, and that's the trouble why they don't. It's that lack of, we're not telling you. That's keeping that quiet, because we don't want to be shot as a messenger. Yes, you might thank us for that feedback, but I'll probably suffer later on.
Yes.
Or I just don't care about you. You're a bit of.
You're pain. You're a pain. We don't want to deal with you,
I'm
so
just
we're going to ignore
surviving.
you. Yes,
and I'm
exactly.
just surviving.
Exactly.
I need the job. I'll survive till I find another one. See, it's interesting.
Exactly.
mentioned before about walking on eggshells. That's the volatile behaviour,
Yeah.
and that's when you have certain traits, because each trait has has two ends of a. There's always two ends of a scale. We all know that,
Yep.
right? We have that
Yep.
end and the other end, and traits have a corresponding or behavioural trait. So you either communicate diplomatically or you communicate very bluntly. See, that's the either end of the scale. The key is you've got to, because the people who are right up the blunt end, they just believe that someone's got to be told something, and they're right. And the people who diplomatically believe that they've got to, that they can't bring people down. They've got to keep people in a positive mindset totally, so we won't say anything. That's at the either end of the scale, totally. The key good leaders are in the middle somewhere, 60-40, 50-50, because yes, they believe someone's got to be told something, but they also believe there's a diplomatic way you can tell it. The other people think it's one or the other. And that's the problem. So when you get back to eggshells, whenever you're at the end of the scale in a behavioural trait, under pressure you'll go to the opposite, and that's the eggshell. You never know whether this person's going to pat you on the back today or bang you over the head with a stick. That's that either end. Balanced people, because they lead from within, because from within you, your soul, your heart is balanced. It doesn't alternate with all these other pressures, because your brain's taking you to the extreme end, because you overthink things. So the balanced people are there. So they don't think about this. They just do, and they do it well, right? Because they can't understand what the issue is. But when you're either end of the scale, then you're consciously thinking about it. If you're up the diplomatic end, you're going, gee, I've got to tell these people, they've got to know, but I don't know how to do it. Then under pressure, they just explode and tell them. See, so suddenly they're very nice. Next minute, they're ripping your head off.
Yes.
See, we all know people like that. Or the other way, when they're always ripping someone's head off, and suddenly something really under pressure, they don't say much at all. They just don't say anything. It's like going away and sulking, because they know if they say it, they're going to bring people down. So, because that's what people keep telling them. So, I won't say anything. And I've seen many executives like that. I've sat in meetings with this, and I've got them to initially stop taking over the show by sitting on their hands. But I've seen some who just totally sit on their hands forever, because they don't want to say anything, and they're going red in the face because they're trying so hard not to say something and blast out at someone else, right?
Yeah.
But the key is you relax, you say what you got to say in a nice way, and all that is takes practice. It's nothing else, just a bit of practice.
Yeah.
And and the discipline to practice.
Yes.
See, that comes back to discipline.
Yes. It's all about discipline, but it's about to have the right coach as well. And as I said, it should be a responsibility for companies to ensure that whomever is in the leader position, even CEO, business owners, they have coaching. You need the coaching, because it's necessary for the company to grow. And like you said, people are not going to work in an environment you feel like you're in jail or worse. So you want to have, it doesn't mean we're all a happy family every single day, but the environment has to be healthy.
It's got to be healthy, and that's right. And the leaders create, they get the environment they deserve because they create it. And you get the culture you deserve because you've created the environment. The culture is a response of the environment, the working environment that you're working in. That creates the culture. That's just what you say and do at work. That's culture.
Yes.
It's a collective, what people say and do at work, which is created by the environment around them. So you can lead people by the environment you create. So if you're always trying to create a positive environment, innovative environment, whatever you're trying to do, you're creating that environment, and therefore you get it. You're getting what you deserve because you're creating for the environment you want. Others think they know what they want, but they don't create it because they do something different. Because they don't see the relationship between. They demand your loyalty, but they don't show any. They demand your trust, but they don't show any. See,
Yep.
and when you get to trust, for example, you've got to trust yourself first. See, that's what people don't trust other people if they don't trust themselves.
Yep.
I mean, it's you've got to trust because I think they don't love people if they don't love themselves. I mean, they don't have fun. They don't encourage people to have fun if they don't have fun themselves. It all comes back to that individual.
Yes.
And that's it. And that's so when you're not having fun, when you're not trusting yourself, it's a bit harder. It's extremely hard. So you create the environment's just basically a reflection of you. So you've got to look in the mirror. At the end of the day, you look in the mirror.
I agree. You always look in the mirror.
So that's I guess what coaches do. They put the mirror up and get people to have a look in it. See, that's why some of the challenging people, I'd say, who are leadership challenged, don't want to look in the mirror.
No, because they don't like what they see.
Their life. No, so therefore they don't want to coach. They don't want a mirror.
No.
It's funny. It's when I've asked that when I get back to that, asking people to describe how they want to be described as a leader. I was talking to someone about doing some coaching for them, and because they read, I always say they read in the book you've got to have a coach. And some of the good leaders that will say they've had coaches, so that whatever reason to motivate them. I was talking to them, and I was going through that exercise. This is the types of things we do. And when I was mentioning about you've got to write down how you want people to be described, then you've got to work on the behaviours to get to earn that description. You could see, well, one you could see, and you could see the bit of pain in their eyes. But at the end of the day, they didn't say, "Oh, no, I'll get back to you." And when I walked out of the office, he's not going to get back.
Exactly. It's like I give up. Never mind.
Because he knows he can't do that, and he doesn't want to do it. Because there again, I don't look in the mirror. Yeah. Like I know deep down, but I just choose to ignore it. So I'll just keep going what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it'll be so damn tough to change. And there again, I've seen people have changed. I've had people cry because I've had such an experience to write down what they'd like to be known as and actually look at the behaviours and actually get quite emotional about it. Because it's actually they're seeing themselves in the mirror in a sense.
Yes.
That's both male and female. Doesn't matter on your gender. They'll tear up because it becomes a bit of more of a revelation. We work through the behaviours that you've got to have in order so that it's like there's the tunnel, there's the light at the end of the tunnel. That's how I can. This is my pathway, as I said. This pathway is, this is going to be hard. I'd like that person. I don't want to attempt it. For others, I know it's going to be tough, but I've got to give it a crack because that's the pathway I want.
Exactly.
So
it requires work as well because leadership is nice to have a coach, but at the end of the day, you're not there to feed with them. You're here to guide them, and that's them who have to do the work. It's nobody else's. So if they expect like the magic wand at the end of the day, good luck with that because it requires work. It requires to be honest with our own self, to be authentic and accountable with our own actions, which I think a lot of people don't want to be accountable with their actions. And it's always easier to point fingers.
That's right. And the word authentic, for example, it's used a bit now, and it's a bit overused in a sense because some people who will then say, I just want to be myself. I've got to be authentic. But they're not really authentic. They're being what their head tells them to do. And the head's like it's a computer. It takes in all the data from around you. And so that data, you change the data, you change the output in any computer, right? So the data is continually fluid and changes around you all the time, right? So therefore you're never consistent. So you're always taking in the data. So it's not the real you. So when you operate from within, it doesn't change because that's you. There's no data change. Yes, your head takes in data and gives it a bit of a feel, but there's a lot of research now. And a good friend of mine, Mark C. Crowley's just written a book, Lead from the Heart, right? So, and he's saying there's actually research now, and I've read it myself now, went looking, that actually where cardiologists are saying that actually heart has ability to actually think. It actually creates, right? So that's what research is telling us now. So you
It's about time we do that.
I know it's getting there. See there again, we're still learning about the human body, but the heart actually it has a mind. In other words,
Yes,
right?
yes. This is where our spirit is. So yes, this is where our soul is, or whatever you want to call it.
That's
yes.
right. And so when you're living from the heart, you're actually you don't have to me you rely on your brain for tactics, but not the vision and how and the journey,
Exactly.
the value of the journey. The brain gives you the tactical plays. Here, this is treating someone well is not a tactical play. That's just what you should do. That's just a given, right? That's just what you should do is connect with people heart to heart. You can't connect head to head because when people are connected head to head, that's how they have debates. Right?
Exactly.
Sounds like Parliament. Right? It sounds like Parliament or something, right? That's people just playing games and all that area. Connect with people with the head. It's a debate.
Yes.
Right. So you connect with people's hearts, and they go, "Oh, yes, I can," that's different.
I totally agree. So I'm glad science is finally cutting up on this one. Congratulations, people. It's about time. We all knew it, but hey, you proved it, so we're good.
Some knew it, some are proving it now, and it's good that cardiologists are doing because we actually listen to them. So we listen to cardiologists, so they're starting to say that now. So
it's I can't remember. Anyway,
read Mark's book, you'll see it in there, one of the chapters. But it's
awesome.
And to me that's so true, as you know, you're saying it that right. But when you do that, you connect with people naturally. Yeah. And when you connect with people naturally, it doesn't matter whether you're friends, foes, or whatever. You're connecting with them naturally, and you have a belief that you want to add value to them. And people, in essence, want to add value. They want to feel appreciated.
Yes.
I've never known anyone yet who doesn't want to feel appreciated. I've never known anyone. It's even if they want to be known as the worst boss, they're only thinking of that because I'm tough and I'm getting the tasks all completed. Again, in their mind, I want to be appreciated for the fact that I've got all this task done. I want to be known as the person that gets everything done, gets everything done the right way. All these things, head telling the heart, right?
Yeah.
But that's why they're up here. They're just in the head. That's how I want to be appreciated. No one wants to be unappreciated.
Yep.
They behave that way.
Yes.
They are unappreciated, but they don't want to be. So, but they're doing it in some way that the head's telling them that's what I've got to do. Right? And they think in their world they're appreciated because that's why they're doing it.
Yes. I agree.
So you got to help and they have staff feel appreciated. Smallest task, it doesn't matter. If they feel appreciated, they'll put the extra effort in and they'll feel happier. They'll feel fulfilled. The more they are, the more they create, the more they do. And the better job they do. Why? Because they know it's appreciated.
Exactly. And people appreciate them. That's the difference. So, no, but I like that topic. As I said, leadership is like something is never going to go away because I'm still saying we should be taught at school at an early age for children.
I agree. See, and look, we could rely on our parents to teach us. And look, eventually my dream is they all will. It's just that you don't have a parent course. They have parent courses now, but that's teach you how to change a nappy, basically.
Yes.
Not teach them to lead themselves. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
And it's. I know a lot of the schools now starting to look at that, the self-leadership. I'm on an education advisory board in India, and that's part of what the mantra is. We're looking at developing that. So those sorts of skills are taught at school. And to me, the younger the age you teach people to...
That's what I said, like kindergarten.
With
how to teach them.
You just teach them. And there are a lot of plethora of damn books out there that say have those messages, but not everyone reads them. So, but the key is parents, teachers, which is authority figures teaching young children, because they listen. Once they get older, they listen so much. Is teaching them to be true to themselves, to believe in themselves, because that's when they get into peer pressure when they're at a younger age. That's when they start to really get bullied, all these sorts of things, because the bullies are the ones who are the most insecure. That's why they do that. Like, it's all those sorts of things. But if you're teaching people to be comfortable within themselves, no matter what's happening at home, but to be strong. Some people do it. So some young children do it. A lot don't. A lot can't. They just find it hard. But if they're taught and had their minds open to it, to me, that will help. And then you continue that to university. You know, you don't, because they often say knowledge is power. No, it's not. Wisdom is power, and wisdom is the ability to use the knowledge wisely and intelligently, and for impact. That's wisdom.
Exactly.
You know, people think I'm a walking encyclopedia. Damn useless unless you use it wisely. You have to use that knowledge. So you've got to be teaching people all the way through university that it's, yes, we're teaching you knowledge here, but more importantly, we've got to teach you how to have impact with that knowledge, not the knowledge itself. So in other words, how do I impact people? How do I influence people? How do I treat people in a way that they want to listen to me?
But at this point,
if I treat them as I'm the greatest expert and you're the greatest dunce, then they won't listen to me. Like, so what's the point of having the knowledge? Like having a book, but no one reads it. Like, what's the point?
Well, that's why. And the earlier they're being taught, they will learn to be more, I will say, proactive in their own lives, and being able to really create something that will have a positive impact at the end of the day, and being mindful. So,
and that's right.
She should be taught at a very young age, and I'm talking kindergarten people.
That's what I'm saying. That's the self-leadership. And it's and that's what they've got to do. That's what some of the universities are also thinking about it.
University is nice. So it has to go below.
There's a guy I know, Dr. Mike Watson in Southern Carolina. I can't think of the university. That's his mindset. That's what he's teaching his students.
Yeah.
See, that's what you got to be teaching them to have an impact and think about and lead themselves.
And and make them continue to believe.
And that's not a separate. And self-leadership's not a separate subject.
No.
If it was a separate subject at university, no one would go to it. That'd be the class they miss. Or if they went, they'd be back doing on their phone. They wouldn't be listening because it wouldn't be probably worth anything. Yeah. What it should be done, it should be integrated in all the subjects. So when you're teaching some knowledge on something, underpinning that is how then do you lead yourself around that? How do you develop the wisdom to actually help people with that what you learn, what your expertise is. So it's taught, it underpins everything. That's what it should be.
I agree.
Some are doing it. Said Dr. Mike Watson's doing it. He's working so hard at it, and he's actually getting parts of the university to embrace it. So the university, I'm pretty certain, in Southern Carolina, sorry.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do, because they see the value in that.
But there's one other value, but which, as I said, we need to go below university level, because
I know that, but if people have already come through to the university now, then that's what you do.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you can't wait till they all come through, then start with the 3-year-olds. We're going to wait another 20 years before it's going to change. You got to change people who are 19, 20, 21 before they get out in that workplace. And at the same time, you got to start that when they start kindergarten. Because you can't rely on your parents. And some parents do it, and they do a good job, and those children are quite healthy and balanced in their attitude to life. But that's still a minority. It's still a minority.
But it will always be a minority if they don't have the education and how to. That's why I said it should be taught in class, in school, kindergarten.
It should be every grade, Emma, every grade, because they need to be reminded.
Yes.
You can teach children at 5 or 6, 7 or 8 years of age. They get in the university. If you don't keep reminding them, they'll just chase the marks. So you've got to.
No. Well, I'm talking from any school they go in, from kindergarten
that's what I'm saying.
whatever.
All the way up. I agree.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yep,
all the
yep.
way. It can't be one bit or the other. It's all the way.
Exactly.
That's the key. And they've got to start it now. Now, the universities are more likely to do it because some are at the moment. As I said, I've got education bodies looking at it. But it's a while yet before they'll actually have it inculcated into the universities. But see, the interesting part is, if I'm teaching self-leadership, basically that's what you're doing to an 8-year-old. I've got to have the knowledge to lead myself first. Because again, if I'm teaching it, I've got to at least know how to do it and believe in it. If I'm just teaching it as a vanilla subject matter, it won't happen. It won't work. You'll just get blah, 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 blah. Well, okay, then let's go home. Cut off time, right? It's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock whenever we go. You've got to believe in it, because then people start to believe that positive energy. So you've got to teach the teachers to be self-leaders first. Otherwise, it won't work. It won't happen. It'll just be very vanilla, and it just won't. Kids won't connect with it. No different with a leader. It's connect heart to heart. You've got to believe it. You've got to be a good leader to bring forward other leaders.
Yes.
The only thing a bad leader teaches you is what not to do. That's the only thing a bad leader will teach you. Not deliberately, but you'll learn, well, I won't be doing this when I get in a leadership position. So I see the effect on my behaviours. I see the effect on people. So everyone teaches you something, good or bad.
Yes.
You've got to teach. You've got to help teachers be leaders of themselves first. And there are a lot of good ones, don't get me wrong. They're allowed to teach it more. And there are other ones who aren't great self-leaders. They're never going to be able to teach it. But there again, we all say that, easier said than done, because leading yourself takes a bit of discipline and a bit of a want to belief. Goes through looking at the mirror is not an easy task for some people.
No, it's never an easy task. It's not an easy task, because you see, you can see who you think you're seeing, but when you really look into it very closely, then maybe that will change and not be as pretty than you think it is. So I know it's not
you're the thing for the outside world to change. So I hope that person treats me better in future, but you got to look at yourself first. So you're treating yourself. So the people who whinge about other people and call people names, usually are doing that internally to themselves. It's just a reflection. The environment around you is a reflection of you in what you see. So it's just, you get some people who just, always antagonistic, always in a battle, always taking people to court, always doing that.
Yep.
Because they think that's normal, because,
they don't know anything better.
It's everyone else's fault except theirs.
Yes. Well, it's always somebody else's fault. It's not my fault.
That's right.
This is where accountability needs to be.
That's why they don't put their hand up for a coach. Or if they does, that's why I've actually coached a few, because their bosses said, this person's just come into this, come to work for us, and yes, not so good. So you got to help them, right? So yes, some respond to it and others don't, because they don't look in the mirror.
Yep. I said it's a work within themselves, and that's what leadership is. And that's why people, when they're looking at your modules and they're thinking, oh, this is for leadership, so who cares? Well, no, that's not true, because it's for everybody.
It's for self-leaders, because that's in essence, if they can't lead themselves, they won't be able to lead others. You've got to lead yourself first. In other words, have the discipline to do the things the good leaders do at the end of the day. We all actually, most of us know, if deep down, when you think about it, can actually write down what good leaders should do, but they just don't carry it out. So some don't. Some think, it's got to be tasked. You've got to get on the task. You've got to get the job done. It's getting things right, 100% right the first time. Well, a lot of companies used to say that. They don't say it anymore, because that means nothing gets done. So now get 80% is good enough. Just get it going. The world's going too fast. Just get it get it, and we'll work out the rest along the way. So all those sorts of things which happens in these days that never would have happened, or never happened before, like when I started working.
Yeah. Well, life change, and we need to meet our customers and make sure we get our products out, our services. And when you're in innovation, what you're going to pull out is yesterday a big aha, but you need to think about the next level. So in order to do that, you need to be able to lead your team, and you need to be
That's
stay
right.
ahead of the game. And
That's right.
that's where you see good companies and worse companies. Some are bad companies, but their sales, because of what they're putting out and their product, that people come and buy it, but they don't know what's going on inside. And I've seen it too many times that some they
Yeah,
rely on their sales.
and it can be like it can be tough when you've got a large organisation spread across the
Yep.
globe, and
Yep.
they say 100,000, 80,000 employees, because
Mm-hmm.
there's always be pockets.
Yep.
Like if you're doing it and leading a team, yes, it does filter down and keep doing that. But the key is that those leaders are holding people accountable for their leadership,
Mm-hmm.
which gets a bit muddy to different pockets of the business around the world. Right, it's so hard to. It takes a lot of energy to drive it, but the end of the day, you got to keep saying that. And like I know some companies that have. These are the leadership behaviours we have to aspire to. So when suddenly they're having people report them, as I said, 360s we get, but we also have they get a frame. This is the leadership behaviours. So staff know that's what they've got to be doing. So when they're not doing it, which can happen because you just employed this person in this job new to the company, and it takes a while for leaders to get to sort them out, that they'll complain a bit more readily because they're not aspiring to what's written on the wall. So and if pushing that message from the top that they got to aspire to what's on the wall. When you're giving them a framework, then you've got to take a bit further. They never behave. They're sort of adjectives. They're not quite exact behaviours, because that can vary a bit in different companies. But you're giving them the adjectives. But the key is, once it's there, then you at least staff at least understand that's what leadership's trying to do. The senior people. So we'll push up the line a bit more quickly that this person's not doing that. Like the 10 commandments, out of these 10 behaviours, they're doing 3. The rest, no hope. So it gives them a bit more license to push it up.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I've had some CEOs say, well, just send it to the executive. Like they'll have someone who just send it up to someone who reports to the CEO. Like what they could get. And if they're getting inundated, then you've got a problem. Yeah. But if they're getting inundated, then you want to know that you're getting inundated with people whinging, and people do whinge for the sake of it because they're too in their own little world sometimes, and they whinge. They're the people who whinge about it's their fault, not mine. So you'll get a bit more, but you'd rather have someone sort through all that. And I'm not saying if you've got 100,000 people, you're going to get it going to the CEO, but it could be the CEO of that country or their country head or all the different units. So it's going to someone senior, who is closer to the head of the business, right? That's the key, because you're wanting to see what goes on. Some companies do it all the time. They get people to fill in questionnaires, all that. It gives them a flavour for what's happening. You can't always appease everyone, because again, as I said, people want something. I'd work a lot much better if I had a new laptop when you're not really working on the one you got. Like all these things. But the key, the intent's there, you've got a process in place to at least find out what's going on.
Exactly.
It takes time. It just can take a lot of energy, but again, the good leaders do it. They'll have something in place that's allowing them to hear what's going on in the business across the world.
I think that's the biggest challenge, is to make sure that the people who are leading those companies realize very quickly that, if there is a problem, don't ignore it, or don't think, oh, well, maybe it's something else, or, ignore the signs. That's to me is the biggest thing, is ignoring the signs and think, oh, everything is just fine. No, it's not.
Yeah, the good leaders sense it.
Yes.
The sign might not be, it's only a very subtle sign, but they sense it.
Exactly.
That's not right. I might take a visit. I might take a visit to that country. I'll do a bit of and then, because it's just not quite, the signs there, but that's usually validated by what you're hearing from the leaders. So you got to, it's not just, it's signs from the staff, but then you start to sit together. Oh, I'll just take a visit there and just see for myself.
Exactly. And don't do an announced visit. Generally, just drop off.
Yeah,
Because if you do an announced visit, forget it. It's funny you're saying that.
And you can be announced, but you got to know how to do it. You got to know how to connect with people.
But let's put it this way, we do an impromptu visit because I have seen CEO shopping coming into, other facilities, and everybody, we're going to put a paint off coat, we're going to clean up, change the carpet. I'm like, I will be the CEO. I will not announce when I showed up because I want to see the truth.
It depends what you're doing. See, it depends whether you want to put people under, what pressure you want to put them under. Good CEO, good leaders will find, if you change the carpet, they'll know that. It's just because it looks obvious, right? You can put on a coat of paint, but the good leaders see the wall. They don't see. I
don't know because I believe some are oblivious.
Well, they're not. I'm saying the good leaders. They're not the good leader, Emma. See, that's what I'm saying. The good leaders connect, and they can, and in conversations they know. It's what they ask. Yeah, sure, they get told things, but it's what the questions you ask. Mm-hmm. It's what questions you ask, not that. Oh, well, I've gone around, I've talked to people, kissed a few babies, blah blah blah. But you'll ask people like, how are you going today? They're not going to say, well, I'm going badly. You go and ask different things, right? And you have one-on-ones. Like you say, clear off, I want to talk to some people one-on-one, in which you do. You create the environment you want. Then you ask specific questions. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what's going to be your biggest challenge today? So tell me then if you describe in 3 sentences, blah, 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 describe it. Like specific questions, so you're getting what you want. Because you got a feeling, so you ask questions that lead to it. And sometimes it's not what you're being told is the answer, is the message. They all know that, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not doing anything. Everything's too nice. Oh, well, therefore they're covering up. Like it just, you know it. You know it. It doesn't matter what the cover is, you'll know it. And as I said, sometimes saying nothing is the message. And sometimes it's how you say what you've said is the message. And sometimes what you've said is there's all sorts of variants. Good leadership is attuned because you're tuned to the heart. You're not tuned to necessarily listen to just the words being used. Because people can change the words to a point. But there again, you just connect. When you connect, you'll know.
I agree. Wow.
So you'll know. Simple thing. And I do it when I coach executives. I always like to visit their office. They talk about remote. That's one thing, but I like to visit. One of the things I'd always get there a couple of minutes early. So I'd sit there, and when I'd go to the reception, or sometimes they don't there, someone comes out from you press a buzzer and someone will come out. But either way, when I mention, I'm going to see Ross Swan, got to mean with, you're only going to look at the body language will tell you. If they smile, oh yeah, then you go, okay. They smile when I mention the name. But if they suddenly get a nervous twitch, then they go, okay, this is not good. Or I sit in reception and watch people go past. It's how they're going past. Are they going past with a smile? They're going past with this grimace on their face. It starts to tell you see, that's why I do it. It's important to get a feel for what the environment is. It's harder now when if people are working remotely, but you still get it to a point if you know it, because you're looking for it. But it's still not as quite in your face than if it's real. So, but they're the important things. It's not the message you're actually hearing sometimes. It's the message that's hidden. It's the body language, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. That was wonderful. So now, where people can connect with you?
Well, they connect with me on LinkedIn. They connect with me on www.soul-inspired-leadership.com.
And by the way, just to let you know, guys, Ross does have his own, and he never invited me. By the way, let's have a conversation on that, Ross. Why you never invited me on your podcast? What is wrong with that?
I know. Yes, I know.
I know. It's everybody except Emma. Somehow I must be nuclear. I must be some radiation of some kind because he's never invited me actually. Oh,
No,
how dare
see,
you,
see there
Ross?
again. See, making this challenge to me publicly.
Ah, yes, I do.
Very smart move, Emma. Very smart move, Emma. That's it. Making public challenge. But yes, we should do that. But yeah, I do have podcasts as well, and so I have a
Yes, I
lot of
know.
different
That's
people who
so
lead
interesting.
in a position
Yes.
of connecting with leaders all the time. That's what I tend
Mm-hmm.
to do. Is people who lead with who are coaches or senior management that have a coaching mindset. So people are learning from and something
And
specific.
exactly. And the last piece is the modules because you have modules that people can purchase. Those are
Yes.
fantastic modules, actually.
Yes, well, they're available on the website, the www.soul-inspired-leadership.com website. Just go to services, then you'll see training, and you can press on that, and you'll see the leadership modules.
Yes, and those are great, by the way, just to let you know, people, because I do have mine too. So, by the way,
Yes, I know you do. Yes, you do.
I do.
I didn't give you a couple of free samples. You actually purchased them.
No, I purchase. I don't do free. Nobody give me any free samples. Who dare do that to me?
So that's what I'm saying. So
Ross,
I didn't pay for
how
your
dare you? I did not even give you a free sample.
That's what I'm saying. It's because a lot of people will think it. Oh, she got a free sample. You got to say.
Oh God, no. I purchased mine.
It's not paid advertising. Yeah, I know.
No.
You're one of my customers.
Yeah. I'm a customer too. Ross is a coach, and you know what? Everybody needs a coach. So I got a coach, and Ross is one of my coaches as well. And I do have Ross's modules, and they are so insightful. And as I said, when people look at it, they're probably thinking, "Well, but I'm not a leader. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a manager. I'm not a VP or director." This has nothing to do. The title for me is a little bit deceiving in the level of people can think, "Oh, that's for those people." No, because it confirms and it relates to your life as well. You can apply to your own personal life. And to me, leadership in our lives is one. It's not separate. And I think there were separation of, oh, leader over there, my life here is. No, it's you are your own leaders. And that's what I've been saying in my podcast and on my blogs, writing in the blogs, is you are the leader of your own life. So your modules are so helpful and have some fantastic, not great, but they have some fantastic, solutions that you bring up to the table, things that we will not be thinking about. And that's what I love. Different perspective, different things to do. Yeah. And it's nice to have it because you can try it. If you do the same thing, you expect a different result, something is wrong because you're getting the same result. However,
and that's it. Yep, that's it. Thank you, Emma. And you try it. That's right.
Yes.
Downloadable. You do it in your own time. Listen to it as many times as you want. All that.
Exactly. Sort of and there is always when you're listening, there is always something you did not capture the first time because you were not meant to hear it the first time or seeing it. It comes afterwards. It's like, oh, how about this? I didn't realize this. So it's working on ourselves. That's why going back, it's like it's mastering a skill set. It's communication, same thing. You continue to evolve, you continue to train, you continue to master it. And that's the same thing, leadership. So I love those modules and they are very easy to digest and understand. I love them. And again, it applies in our own lives as well. It's not, oh, I'm not manager, I don't work in corporate. No, it applies to our own lives because we can take it and apply it.
Yeah, because if you're not leading yourself, you're allowing others to lead you.
And you don't want that. I don't want that. I don't like that.
You don't want that. No. Well, it's not a case of. It's just a case of having the discipline to do the things that you want to be doing. The real you wants to be doing. Not I'll do this because someone said that's a good idea.
Yes.
No, you want. What do you really want? And it's not. And there again, it's not ignoring other people saying, "Well, I'm not." When you're leading yourself, it's not being selfish. Because when you're leading from the heart, which is what we talk about, you lead from the heart. You're not selfish in the heart. You just do. Yeah, it creates the selfishness. It creates the envy. It creates the competition. It creates the
jealousy,
I'm better than
you. Anything. The lack of.
they're all created in the head. So if you lead
Yes,
from the heart, you don't have any of those things.
exactly.
And people want to gravitate around you.
Yes,
That's the way, and that's leadership.
exactly. And you don't have to tell people, you're just leaving it and do it. And
You're just
people
doing.
around you
Gravitate.
will, the people around you will notice. And you know, it's like the ripple effects. Whatever you do, there is always, people will always feel it and be influenced by it. So if you have a leadership skill, a set mind, then it automatically influences the people around you.
Yeah,
That's what I
right.
love. And I always said, also, when you started, somebody on the opposite end of the earth, on the other side of the earth, will be influenced one way or the other by what we're doing. So may as well start to do the right thing for ourselves first, and then it will apply to everybody around, because changes comes with us and within us first. Don't expect changes to happen outside of you, or if you do, good luck, or you're going to wait for a very long time, because it's probably not the result you want. But if you start within yourself, then you can see the transformation. And that's our journey. It's a journey of transformation. That's the life of thousand, like I call it for several years. It is the life of thousand we're living in,
Right.
changing and evolving. So
That's right.
no, but that's
exactly
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I was very happy to have you today. I am gonna probably schedule for next month. So we're gonna start to do like a monthly thing, so we don't spend like 6 months without having a podcast here. Having a conversation in between.
Oh dear. Well, I'll come on anytime to listen to the laugh. That's fine.
Well, it's not listening, it's just giving the insight, because I think you gave some
Yeah, I know.
absolutely
I just
wonderful,
like
great
listening.
insight.
I just like listening to you laugh. So I got to be on again. It's like a,
You know, a lot of people do, because it seems like it's healing for some unknown reason and relaxing.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I
okay,
think
cool.
it is. I think
Yeah.
it is. There's a lot of passion behind that laugh. I can tell you. That's
It
fine.
is, and I like to laugh. So, and today has been a beautiful day, and I was so excited to have you on the podcast today. As I said, I said it on the one I released today, because we're recording Wednesday, and by the time it's gonna go release, it will be actually Friday. This one, so.
All right. Okay.
I was already excited. I could already said it at the end of yesterday podcast that was released. I was like, yay! I don't know if you listened to it. You should, because at the
Listen
end,
to it. I haven't listened to it. Yeah, I read your blog yesterday, but I didn't. I
which are
read
the
the
pop-ups? Yeah,
That's
pop-ups, yes.
That's a
And
pop.
well, yeah.
I don't
the
know.
infamous
Two of
pop-ups.
them are not pups anymore, but the other one is a pup. So you still got pups.
They will always be my pops. They always
I know.
my,
That's what I mean.
Mark
It's like
is
children are
my
always your kids. They-
my big baby.
My children are in their 40s or 30s, right? So they're still
Yeah.
kids. So that's what I'm getting at, right? They're always
Yeah.
your pups.
Oh yeah, they're always
Yeah.
gonna be like that. I cannot
Yeah.
help myself, people. And Mark, who's a big baby, because I don't call him baby. I say you're my big baby, so he knows. He comes and jump on my lap, and he's not that big, but it's a medium dog, size dog.
Yeah.
But he think
Yeah.
he's a baby, so he come and just crush me. Which is like, okay, buddy, just let me breathe for a minute. But yeah, both are acting like puppies. That's what they do. So, they mellow, however, which is good. And I appreciated that. But they are my babies, they're my pop-ups. So yes, the saga of the pups continue. I got more stories coming up. But yeah, no, on the podcast yesterday, I did mention you, and I was excited you come.
Good. Yeah, I was looking forward to it. I always look forward to a chat and said, hear you laugh. All those things. It's always there, Emma.
Oh, yes, it is. And that's what we want, isn't it? Trying to help ourselves.
Yes.
What can I say, guys? This is how we're having fun here. This is what I do. I'm back to do my solo podcast, which I'm happy to do it, actually. It's been a while since I did not do my solo podcast. So I'm back on it. And do collaboration and conversation, which I love to do too. So it's like, yay. So this is what I do.
Good to see you back doing what you love. That's the key.
Well, you know what? Yes, I do. And on the top of it, I do voiceover too for Studio Stargazers as well. Because the one from Saturn, I got released on Audible, I think, the Journey to Saturn. And there is some coming down for other things. Like I did a voiceover. I can say this one. It's called blue, the pale blue dot, which is a speech, and it was about Voyager 1. When they turned around before Voyager went after Saturn and Jupiter, they made a turnaround and took a picture of the universe where the pale blue dot was actually the Earth. And Voyager continues journey afterwards. But that was a speech that was done, and Jenner asked me to do it. So I did not listen to the actual speech because I said I don't want to hear the voice how the person did it. So I did it, and it's gonna actually compose the music, and it's gonna make it into to something that people can purchase and listen to it. So yes, I'm doing voiceover. I love to do that. I love voiceover. I think it's fascinating. It's fun. Yeah. You're somebody else's.
See, that's pretty good. People tell me how to voice the silent movies. That's all. So I don't know about that. So anyway.
Oh, why not? You never know. You never know. I could talk to Jenner and say, listen to my.
Who knows? Yeah, my voice, as I said, a bit nasally. They say you got a voice for silent movies, but that's another thing. But anyway, look, it's been good to be on again.
Well, I'm very happy, and as I said, people, Ross, it's official. We'll be coming back next month for more conversation about leadership, because I think it's a critical topics, and there is so much to talk about. And maybe you can tell more stories than you had experience as a
there's a few. There's a few.
Yeah, that's what we want to know. We want to know. But thank you so much, Ross.
Okay,
and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day, because it's morning to you and it's night.
Morning. Yes. So you have a good night. You have a pleasant night's sleep, and I'll have a good day. That's it.
Yes. Take care. Bye.
Emma's Universe Podcast.